get it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the SchuZ Show. I'm you guys' host, SchuZ Schumaker. I hope you guys are having an incredible Friday so far. With that being said, though, today's show will not feature a guest that I talked about on yesterday's part. But what I will be getting into on today's show is going to be fight previews of all the different fights going down this weekend. We'll also be getting into some boxing news as well. Now, if there are any comments or topics that you guys want me to discuss on today's show, make sure to leave it in the chat and I will address as we go throughout the duration of today's show. Let's hop right into it, though. Starting off the day tomorrow, right now, actually, there is most fight promotions having the Prospects number 14 card go down right now. Go check that out. A lot of good, interesting prospects coming up in the boxing ranks. They're fighting right now, but they have a main card going down tomorrow night. I'll be previewing that, but first off, let's get into the fight going down in the UK tomorrow between Jack Rafferty and Mark Chamberlain. This is for the British and Commonwealth super lightweight title fight. Jack Rafferty has never lost in his life. He's 26-0, 17 KOs, and he'll be defending his British and Commonwealth super lightweight titles against former European champion Mark Chamberlain, who is 17-1, 12 KOs. This will be taking place in the UK. All right, so this is going to be an interesting fight. Let's go back in time a little bit. Mark Chamberlain was a man that was very intriguing. He was a guy who was one of the top-ranked fighters at lightweight, super lightweight at that point in time. He was talked about by a lot of different guys, highly ranked, and then Josh Padley came up in there and pulled off a massive upset. And so since that standpoint, we have not seen Mark Chamberlain return to the ring until tomorrow. So it's going to be very interesting because the hype around Mark Chamberlain going back a year ago was legitimate. People legitimately looked at Mark Chamberlain as somebody that he has a legitimate potential to be a threat in his weight class. Now, obviously things have changed, but here he is. We'll see how he bounces back from his very first loss. Jack Rafferty, known as the Demolition Man, he's riding a 6-fight KO streak, including stoppages over Henry Turner and Corey O'Regan. Rafferty's rise has been built upon pressure, relentlessness, and bodywork. From Mark Chamberlain, he previously held the IBF European and WBA Intercontinental titles at lightweight. So this is going to be an interesting fight because for two guys, Jack Rafferty, who's never lost in his career, fighting a guy like Mark Chamberlain. As much as we have seen him, obviously he was upset against Josh Padley a year ago, but I think people still look at him and say, okay, this is a legitimate fighter. If Jack Rafferty can go out there and do his job and KO him and get him out of there, it's going to look quite well in that resume. For Mark Chamberlain, getting a potential bounce-back win against Jack Rafferty would be huge for him. That's why this fight's very intriguing. Now, for the casual boxing fan, they may not be too familiar with these two guys, but let me just be very clear here. The winner of this fight is going to put themselves in great position. Both guys are well-regarded. Both guys are known right now, but if this fight can go down and the winner has a statement in this win, this could be a massive pushing themselves forward on the ranking scale in terms of getting another big fight and working their ways up the rankings. So there is a lot riding into this fight right here. My prediction, though, in this fight, I do see Jack Rafferty winning this fight. The reason for this, now, Mark Chamberlain could easily come out and surprise people. The reason I say this is, listen, Mark Chamberlain has not been active. He's taken a year or so off from boxing, and last time we saw him in the ring, he didn't look too well against Josh Padley when he got upset. So for me, Jack Rafferty's been consistent. This is a man that has had a 6-fight KO win streak. I see him getting Mark Chamberlain out of there. But let me be very clear. I could very well see Mark Chamberlain coming out, improving a ton over this past year because sometimes taking a year off can be beneficial for a fighter. Not always, but sometimes. Now, as I said, Mark Chamberlain has a good shot, but I am going to ride with Jack Rafferty in this fight. Let's head over to the fight going down from most valuable promotions. I'm going to break down two of them in depth. The very first one will be the main event between Yankiel Rivera and Angelino Cordova for the WBA interim flyweight title fight. The Puerto Rican Olympian Yankiel Rivera, 7-0 with 3 KOs, faces the Venezuelan contender Angelino Cordova, 19-0-1, 12 KOs. This will be for the vacant WBA interim flyweight title at the Carib Royale in Orlando, Florida. Rivera is a very high-regarded amateur fighter. I know when you look at the record, 7-0, 3 KOs. Isn't the greatest record in the world, but look at what he has accomplished so far in his amateur career. A very stout and standout performer in the amateur rank. He was number 1 by the WBA. He made his 2025 debut and 3 wins last year. Cordova is ranked number 2, previously fought Julio Cesar Martinez to a no contest in the WBC title. This is going to be for the interim title belt, meaning that whoever wins this fight has a legitimate chance of becoming world champion in the very near future. So who do I have winning this fight here? Well, for Rivera, let me just break down his game style. He's a southpaw, slick movement, very good counter, and as I said, elite amateur pedigree. This is a man that was one of the top amateurs in boxing for quite some time. As for Cordova, he's a pressure fighter. He loves going to the body. He's very durable and a very confident fighter. This could go either way. I'm very intrigued by both fighters here, but what I'm going to go by is going to go Yankiel Rivera. I like the youth in him. I like how he is. I think it's going to be a very tactical fight here, but I think Rivera's skill set is going to edge him out against Cordova's aggression in this fight. I'm very intrigued by this fight. I think it's going to be a very high pace, high tempo, I should say, entertaining fight between two guys that are going for an interim belt. And as I said, the winner of this fight could very well become world champion by end of this year, maybe early next year. So it's a very intriguing fight in that regard. Let's head over to the co-main event going down in this fight. Yoenis Tellez versus Abass Baraou, WBA interim super welterweight title fight. This one is probably the most significant fight of the weekend. The best fight is the one I just discussed. The most significant fight is likely going to be this one right here between Tellez and Abass Baraou. And there's a lot riding onto this. Why? This is essentially going to be a fight for a world championship. I know it's going to be, in essence, it's going to be for the WBA interim super welterweight title fight, but this is very likely within a matter of a couple of weeks or maybe even a month and a half, this could be a fight that we look back on as going to be for a world championship, because the belt they're currently going to be fighting for is the belt that is currently held by Terrence Bud Crawford. If Terrence Bud Crawford goes out there and fights Canelo Alvarez, or when that happens, and he decides not to go back to 154, which is the expectation, that means that his belt would then be vacated, and this belt would be then, the winner of this fight would then be elevated to world champion. So a lot of things are riding on this fight. And not even to mind this, not even mention this. Remember I talked about on yesterday's show, both guys, now specifically Yoenis Tellez, has been calling out Boots-Ennis. Very good chance that the winner of this fight will be defending the belt for the very first time against Boots-Ennis. So it means you're a world champion, and you get a big payday against Boots-Ennis. And a big fight there. What do I see happening in this fight? Well, overall, Tellez is 10-0, 7 KOs, defending his interim belt, whereas the German contender Abass Baraou is 16-1 with 9 KOs. This is the co-main event. Tellez is coming off of a career-best performance against Julian Williams. He is known for his explosive power and very poised under pressure. Baraou is the former European champion. He's riding a 7-fight win streak since losing a close loss to Jack Calque. Tellez has fast hands, great counters, excellent ring IQ, and he also fights well off the back foot, where Baraou is a very high volume, durable, strong jab, and thrives in the long distance there. All right, so let's get into this fight. Who do I see winning this fight? I do see Tellez. I am personally very, very high on Tellez. This is a guy that I like the way he fights. He's very entertaining. I feel like he just continues to get better and progresses quickly after each and every single one of his fights. I believe that when we look back on this performance, he's going to go defend his interim belt. He's going to be elevated to world champion. And then it's going to be one heck of a fight between him and Boots-Ennis in early 2026. I'd probably say right around February, I think we could see that fight happen. That's a fight that I see happening. Baraou test him. It's going to be a good opponent. But I would not be shocked when I come back on this live show on Monday, or how you guys will see myself tweet on Saturday night, is saying that this man is ready for a world championship. This is your new world champion, and he's going to be a problem and a very, very tough opponent for Boots-Ennis. So those are the main fights I wanted to break down on today's show. Other notable fights going down this weekend: Jack Turner versus Nicholas Augustine Maranza for a super flyweight fight. Lewis Richardson making his second fight against Spartan at a middleweight clash. Zach Miller versus Leon Woodstock featherweight fight. Then Jake Wiley versus Yusuf Deeb. Then Sky Nicholson fighting Singh. She making her second fight at her new weight class as she approaches possibly becoming a 2-weight world champion. Then Stephanie Hand versus Paulina Angel. And then Lucas Body, Roger Rodriguez, or Gutierrez, a very good fight right there for a WBA lightweight title eliminator. And then Jermaine Ortiz, we fighting Batista. This is not the fight that people were expecting or wanting. It was supposed to be Steve Claggett. But massive shout out to Batista for stepping up on short notice after Claggett got hurt, was not able to fight in this fight. So Jermaine Ortiz will be fighting a 10-round super lightweight fight against him. Very intriguing for weekend. Some decent fights that would make a lot of guys in the top contending groups shift places in the rankings. It'll be intriguing in that regard. Let's go over to some boxing news, though. Here's an interesting thing. Following a troubling slate of bouts in New York, a request to stage a sparring club show in Las Vegas on the Canelo-Crawford fight week is confronting problems to win approval from the Nevada Athletic Commission. Very interesting news here. All right, so for those of you that are not familiar with Sparring Club, Turkey Al Sheikh and Ring Magazine came together, made the Sparring Club thing happen. Now, what is Sparring Club? Well, it's essentially glorified sparring. All right, sparring is something that's a part of boxing training. People that know it know it. However, this is a little bit more high-stakes sparring. If anybody watched what happened in New York, they also did one in the UK. When these things are in Saudi Arabia last weekend, my apologies. But what we're seeing in these situations right now is this. These guys are going in there. They have the cameras on them. It's live. You can go watch it. It's being broadcasted. And guys are not going in there to spar. Sparring is different. When you are sparring, you're working on your craft, trying to get better, trying to improve as a fighter. Not what these guys were doing out there. This was essentially padded, almost essentially amateur boxing to a certain extent, but with professional ranks. It's much different. It was not. Now, there was definitely, you do hard sparring and training and different stuff along those lines. Of course you do. However, not to this extent. We had guys getting consistently knocked out. We had a lot of big things happening. And obviously, Nevada looked at this. We're not too high on it. And they're not wanting to give the approval for Turki Al-Sheikh to be able to make this thing happen in Las Vegas during fight week. So we'll see what ends up happening. I personally, I like the concept of it. However, I think it is dangerous. I think guys not getting paid to go get knocked out is not the best thing for boxing. And it's going to be very, very difficult to get that approved in most commissioning bodies now that we know what it is going forward. So we'll see what happens there. Remember when we were discussing, and there was a lot of confusion in regards to Canelo Alvarez, Terrence Bud Crawford fight card. When was it going to be? Where was it going to be? Well, we have more clarity on that situation now. Supposedly, there was going to be a UNLV game, football game, taking place at Allegiant Stadium on that Saturday. Here comes TKO and Turki Al-Sheikh, and they decided to pay the UNLV athletic department $1.75 million to move their game from September 13th to September 12th to accommodate for Canelo Bud Crawford. When you're dealing with big guys with big money that want big things happening, this is the type of stuff that happens. And for those of you that are not familiar with the NIL era, that's a massive boost for a program. $1.75 million boosted into your program can do wonders for yourself. So I'm sure UNLV looked at that and said, we'll gladly accept that. We can move our fight to another day, or our football game to another day, and we will gladly take that $1.75 million. All right, couple things before I let you guys go, one of which is this. I have a question to propose to you guys. Shakur Stevenson's looking for another fight, and there appears to be two big fights he's kind of eyeing right now. It is Lamont Roach and Teofimo Lopez. All right, so my question to you is, which one would you prefer to see? Lamont Roach or Teofimo Lopez? Let's break them down a little bit. What's interesting about both of those two fights is that when Shakur Stevenson fights either one of those two guys, you are looking at a match where it's going to be a very technical fight. For Teofimo Lopez, this is a man that was once pound for pound tier. Now he's just outside of it in my eyes. And this is a man that's still very, very skilled. A top 15 pound for pound fighter without a shadow of a doubt. Now, Shakur Stevenson would be going up to 140, would be fighting for a 140 pound world championship, would do wonders for his resume. And Teofimo Lopez, he needs to fight badly. His mouth ran way too much, got himself in trouble, didn't necessarily get the big fights he wants anymore, and is kind of stuck in limbo. Shakur Stevenson appears to be the only option for him right now. It's a big fight. It would be a great name for his resume. It would do decent numbers. I know people will complain because it probably won't be the most entertaining fight in the world, but from a technical standpoint, it should be an excellent fight between these two guys. I like that one. That's the one I favor. I think Shakur Stevenson favors it. And then Teofimo Lopez came out and said this: I've already accepted the fight. I'll see you the beginning of the year, Shakur Stevenson. So this, he kind of essentially right here is saying, start of 2026, Shakur Stevenson, Teofimo Lopez, that's a massive fight. I personally would be all for that. That's the fight that I would like to see. Shakur moving up to 140, fighting for a world championship against Teofimo Lopez. And if Shakur can go out there and defeat Teofimo Lopez in that fight, it would do huge aspects for him. You're talking then becoming another weight world champion. You're now at 140. You can make big moves with Richardson Hitchens. You can unify with him. Gary Antoine Russell, supposing he obviously goes out there and wins the fight. But I love this matchup right there. That's the one I prefer. On the other side, you have Lamont Roach. His name is in a very popular standpoint right now. We're seeing countless guys call Lamont Roach out. They all want to go out there and fight him. I don't blame them. He's going to sell tickets in his next fight because of what happened against Gervonta Tank Davis. This is a great fight right here as well. I'd like to see both of them. And the way Shakur is talking right now, I would not be shocked for us to see both those fights come to fruition in the future. I think Shakur would for sure win the Lamont Roach fight. I would give him the edge in the Teofimo Lopez fight, although that's much closer to 50-50. But either way, I like both those fights right there. Now, there is clarity as well. There was confusion late last night in regards to what BoxRec was listing the Gervonta Tank Davis and Jake Paul fight as, and it was listed as a hybrid professional bout. Clarity came out now by BoxRec. Ray Johnson made this tweet. It is not a hybrid fight, but I just need to post it as something because pro boxing is also misleading. It's an exhibition bout. I thought I made that pretty clear in the notes. That's the way I took it as. I never really looked at it and said this is going to be a hybrid fight. I think I picked up on what he was, but some people got confused there. So for those of you that have not seen that tweet yet, it is not going to be a hybrid fight. This is a exhibition fight. That's all that it is. It is what it is. Exhibition will not go on either guy's record. It's happening. Tank Davis, Jake Paul, exhibition fight later this year. Last thing, going back to Lamont Roach, and this is what's interesting about Lamont Roach. And I actually made this point a little bit ago, but Lamont Roach has everybody calling out his name. Why? His name is more trendy than it's ever been before. It's a big name, and they know that's going to be a good payday. Who's the newest name to call him out? Actually, a couple. Richard Hitchens also did it a little bit earlier. But CURMEL MOTON. CURMEL MOTON says he's ready to challenge Lamont Roach for his WBA title, meaning he would fight him at 130. The big question there is CURMEL MOTON still even able to make 130? That's a big question. And secondly, CURMEL MOTON jumping from the guys he's fought to Lamont Roach would be difficult. It could put him on the spot very quickly, but at the same time, it'd be a risky move. And on top of that, CURMEL MOTON does not have a big enough name yet. CURMEL MOTON can't even get himself on TV. That's Floyd Mayweather's fault, but they can't really get that job done right now. So if you are CURMEL MOTON, I like this opportunity. I like this fight. If you're Floyd Mayweather, you need to do your job and make sure you build him up the proper way. Get him on TV. Am I completely against the fight? No. Do I think it's going to happen? Absolutely not. Because Floyd Mayweather would have to put a massive bag to make this fight happen. So we'll see what's unfolding there. But end of the day, CURMEL MOTON says he's ready to challenge Lamont Roach. We'll see if that ends up coming to fruition. With that being said, though, I told you guys it's going to be a very short show. Just wanted to give you guys a quick breakdown of the fights, a preview in that regard, and then talk about some boxing news. So with that being said, I hope you guys have a blessed rest of you guys this Friday. Have a blessed weekend. I hope you guys have a lot of fun. Enjoy the fights. Do great things this weekend. I'll be back live on Monday. I hope you guys have a blessed weekend, as I said. May God bless you guys all. And with that being said, SchuZ out. I'll see you guys Monday.